everybody? Welcome to this week's Sound Off. It's your host, the most here, Ricardo, trying to bring you the news that you need to know. Let's get jump right in, alright? So, with the three headlines of this week is that Zachary Levi, if you don't know who he is, he's Flynn Rider from Rapunzel and a bunch of other shows and movies that you probably have seen in your life. He was tapped by Sci-Fi recently to host their new Live at ComicCon show, which is kind of like a I guess kind of like documentary style show where they kind of go San Diego Comic-Con, kind of go through the floor, which is basically, him talking to a bunch of people there, kind of bringing you the first, the frontline experience of people who don't have the ability to go to San Diego and go to Comic-Con. So, I mean, there's not too much information released about that show yet, but basically, just like usual, we will let you know as soon as more information releases. And then the second headline is West Plains, Missouri-based OzCon plans game day event to make up for canceled day of the con called FloodCon. So, in West Plains, there was a massive storm that hit not too long ago that kind of extremely postponed their their OzCon, to the point where it was, if you decided to go, it was probably a foolish idea. You probably weren't going to get there. Everything was out of commission, sort of say. So, the term that a lot of people are using are historic flooding. So people are actually going to, to make up for it, they're going to, the people who run the con are going to kind of make up for it in some way. So they're going to basically have a free game day con from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. on June 17th at the Missouri State University West Plains Student Recreational Center. Admission is free, but they'll also be accepting cash donations, and this is a lot of it's going to be going towards relief funds for the flooding. So people who unfortunately had some kind of damage to their home. Things of that nature, obviously supplies. They're pushing a lot of those donations towards it. So, of course, there will be video games, card games, any kind of game you could think of. They probably will have it, and it's kind of nice because it's kind of a nice way to make up for, hey, sorry, a terrible force of nature decided to come through our con, and then not a lot of people to go. So, it's nice, especially if you live in the Missouri area, especially the West Plains area. Definitely check it out. At least help out in some way if you can. Alright, and then the third headline, it's a little bit more of a local one, if you will, to New York or anything around the East Coast area, is that a photographer by the name of Jason LeBoy, who is a phenomenal photographer. We've known him for a very long time. He was subjected to kind of crazy stalking, really crazy, very harsh attacks. Not necessarily to him, but to his daughter, who is a wonderful, wonderful person. We got to meet her. She was adorable. Kind of calling her out, kind of really cruel attacks. This is more like a PSA than it is a headline. It's more just, we as a community have to kind of stick together because, obviously not a lot of people outside of it really still understand it. They're still in that point where it's still kind of alien to them. So the fact that there are still people in this community who actively go out of their way to attack photographers to the point where they're attacking their families is not cool. So don't do it. Don't even entertain the idea to do it. So we at the Fans POV are extremely against bullying of any kind, and it's one of those things where if anybody's doing it, we're not gonna even entertain it. So, to change the subject to a much lighter tone, our Sabbath Picture of last week was badly explained the plot from a video game. Others have to guess what game it is. So a couple of you did respond. I myself actually put Dad of the Year fights human souls to get his daughter back while partying up with a foul-mouthed hussy and a dangerous cinnamon roll, along with also using a book in his adventures. Not a lot of people answered. It was done, the game was Nier, the first Nier, which is a little bit more difficult. But some of you were really awesome in your responses. Like we have a young anti-hero uses violence to unite warring tribes to become their king while fraternizing with the women. He is temporarily thwarted by an ex-associate who he later pushes off a roof. And fortunately, not a lot of people got that, but it was Bully. Bully was actually really cool. And then one of them was that everybody got stumped on was a group of teens and an animal mascot running around solving mysteries. Unfortunately, some of it said Scooby-Doo, some of them really got it wrong, but it was Persona 5, you know, Morgan and Go to Sleep. So, our next topic is our Tip Tuesday. We've talked about kind of con etiquette, basically the rules of the con, make sure it's clean and all that stuff. But this week we have decided to kind of break down a lot of the things as far as how to get a room with rules that are kind of helpful to make sure you kind of keep on top of it. So that includes booking early, book as early as you possibly can for the con you're going to. And even then, I mean, if you're not going to go, you know, like most hotels do give the ability to kind of cancel up to the day before. So that way at the last minute you can't able to go. You do have the option of doing that. Obviously keeping constant communication with everybody who's going to be involved in the room. Kind of having kind of a little battle plan up to that point is really useful. So the point where you know how much everybody's going to pay, if anybody needs any supplies, things of that nature. So because we live in a world where group chats are like a regular thing. So there's no really excuse for that. But of course, you know, keeping the hotel room clean, not making a lot of noise. Partying is obviously going to be a thing, but be respectful when you do it. Alright, and then our cosplay of the week is by Kingdom North Cosplay as Spartacus. So if you get a chance, we do have the link on the bottom in the description below. And definitely check him out. He's actually very, very good, almost to the point where he kind of resembles a bearded version of the main character from Spartacus. Which if you haven't watched, if you're over the 18, we recommend watching it. If you're under the age of 18, we recommend reading it through Wiki, because it's very bloody, very brutal, and possibly more bumping uglies than Game of Thrones could do in one episode. But it's a really fantastic show. But also, he kind of gives the detail out. Very good leather work. Also, the guy's ripped. So we kind of... It's very 300-esque. But it's very good. Definitely check him out. Check out a lot of his other cosplays. He's fantastic. Okay. And then... Since we're doing now a segment for Heroes of Cosplay as opposed to kind of doing like a winner of... So this week is more, not necessarily one person, but a group of people, and that would be at MortalCon in Long Island, New York, which is a con here. And what they do is that their whole entire convention, at least a lot of the proceeds go to breast cancer awareness. They have a lot of panels that are dedicated to it. I myself have gone the last couple years. I've had nothing but a wonderful time there. I think the whole idea of kind of bringing together like pop culture and then breast cancer awareness is kind of a nice thing to do. I wish obviously other cons could do something like that, but it's very hard to, consider the fact that most of them are very large. Unfortunately, I believe they have announced that they are not going to be having a con this year, but here's hoping that next year they could come back and continue doing what they do, because it's always been a wonderful time. We've actually done a couple panels there ourselves, and would like to continue. So, give them a shout out on Facebook. Tell them that how awesome they are. Alright, and our page model of this week is Autumn Virus Cosplay, which we have worked with multiple times in the past, her and her boyfriend. And they are, first of all, they're super talented. Obviously, they're both really pretty. And she actually opened a Patreon recently under Raxme Prack. If you know how to spell it, we will actually put it down in the description below. Also, along with her Facebook page on all our social media, and I will link you towards it. So, she definitely works hard for it, and she's always a wonderful person to work with. I know her and Ernie are like bros. So, and she obviously has Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and then Patreon, which she just recently released. And then our photo shoots, at least that we have done recently, is our Game of Thrones cosplay shoot at the Renaissance Festival in Maryland with JMS Cosplay, Neophyte Costumer, and Michelle Kitchen. Which, if you don't know Game of Thrones, they're very detailed and intricate with their designs for their outfits. And Ernie, once again, does a wonderful job of kind of bringing that out and kind of showing the hard work that all these cosplayers have done. So definitely check them out on our Facebook and our social media. We do have the album there. And you can see for yourself how awesome that is. And then for our social media posts, we have Jim Lee as our artist spotlight, which if you haven't known who Jim Lee is, it's very hard to, considering the fact that he's everywhere, including Injustice 2. He has done a lot of artwork for that. He's a big DC Marvel artist. He's fantastic, and he kind of, as far as what I remember, he has started a lot of his work by himself. Like, he's not too, he didn't know too much as far as artist goes, and he kind of taught himself. So I'm pretty sure if you've seen any kind of Batman art, you know it's instantly his. So, and for our Music Monday, we have Walkstreams 82 cosplaying as Jack Vesalius from Pandora Hearts. And as long as we know this amazing, talented person, we know that she puts in 100 million% into all of her work. She puts her heart and soul into it, and it shows. She has a lot of fun with it. So you can definitely check out our cosplay spotlight in the description below, along with all that fun jazz. And then we have Puzzled Orca as Ariel Melody from Little Mermaid, which I believe was during ComicCon. Of course, I'd be corrected for that, but us being big Disney fans, we absolutely love her work, their work, and then just think they're super pretty, gorgeous, and adorable. So definitely check them out. And then for our Watching Wednesday, we have Mother 3, which is the third series, which follows Earthbound for the Super Nintendo. I have found a means to play this game, which unfortunately didn't come out in the US, but there are other ways to do it. Unfortunately, we will not tell you because that's also super illegal. And we would rather prefer, you find a way to get to Nintendo and play this awesome game where it starts Lucas, if you haven't played Super Smash Brothers, and has possibly probably my favorite RPG story in a very long time. It's very adorable, very kind of questionable, like in the sense of kind of like who you really are, and it's really good. Really fantastic art, music, gameplay. It's just all around a good one. Alright, and then with our Throwback Thursday, we have our Dragon Con 2014 music video of Black Betty, which, if you haven't got a chance to watch it, if you want to see Chris sing Black Betty potentially the best way possible, and then see me do Black Betty completely awful on bass, definitely check it out. It's a good time. And then for our Feature Friday, Chrissy reviews in ComicCon 2017. She actually did a really good thorough review on it. Not that she doesn't normally, but she definitely kind of gives her 2 cents on it. And if you haven't gone to ComicCon, it's very, very fun. I unfortunately haven't gotten to go, but I've only seen nothing but amazing pictures and just good experience out of it. And then our Saturday skit is by, I want to say, Cosplay, Elle Had That Dream Again. I believe it's by Cupcake Cosplay. I could also be wrong, but it's a really cute one. If you like a little bit of shipping, it's definitely something you want to watch. It's nice to see a little. It's also a little amateur, but it's also kind of done with a lot of good intent. So if you get a chance, watch that. All right, and then for our convention update for the Fans POV, Sazuhime, our page model, will be attending MegaCon in Orlando, Florida, from May 25th to the 28th. So follow her on social media if you haven't already. She can keep an update on it and see her awesome cosplays. Ernie, Chrissy, page model Chris, Chris Cosplay, and then maybe, as of this recording, maybe our page model Yellow Peril Cosplay will be attending Colossal Con in Sandusky, Ohio from June 1st to the 4th. So if you want to see a bunch of people in bathing suits having a good time in a now increasingly warmer weather, that's one place you definitely want to go. If you don't, you can always check us out. So I believe Ernie would also be doing a bunch of live broadcasting there, so you kind of get a good experience firsthand. And then our page models, NPC Cosplay, Tony Extemptress, Morgan Legay, and myself will be at Anime Next in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So if you want to go someplace, if you don't really want to go outside and you want to be somewhere nice and cool, the casinos nearby and the amazing venue are your place to be. And then Ernie and our page model, the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, will be at the Lantern Festival in Monaghan, Pennsylvania on June 10th, which was the same Lantern Festival that we shot that amazing Rapunzel Lantern Festival video and photos. They were just simply gorgeous. Alright, and then our sound-off picture of this week is, if you could take any game from the past and have it remade with today's graphics, what game would you choose? The obvious one for me would be Final Fantasy VI, because I have a small obsession with Final Fantasy VI, being one of my favorite RPGs, along with Secret of Evermore, because that game left me speechless of how difficult and how fun it was. So that's one start. So now it's your turn to finish the rest. And then for our next week's sound off, the big boss himself, Ernie, will be hosting next week. So with that being said, make sure to subscribe to our Facebook page, Instagram, Twitch, which we'll be starting up very shortly. We also have Tumblr and our YouTube channel. So if you haven't got a chance to follow any of those, please follow, like, and subscribe, and do all that jazz. And with that, this has been your host, Ricardo, and with the Fans POV, signing off.